what I do know for sure is that, you know, Charlie was someone who once said, you know, guns save lives, after a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd in the hands of Minneapolis police.
I think he called him a scumbag.
Right, have no regard, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. And I think, you know, there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up, you know, like than to completely pretend that, you know, his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence.
Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene have filed a resolution to censure Ilhan Omar after her shocking remarks about conservative leader Charlie Kirk. This fiery move exposes the double standards in Congress and shows conservatives are no longer willing to stay silent. In this video, we dive deep into why the censure matters, what it means for the future of American politics, and how patriots must rise up to defend our values.
What purpose, gentlewoman from South Carolina, seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. House Resolution 713, censuring Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota and removing her from the Committee on Education and Workforce and the Committee on the Budget. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a lifelong advocate for freedom of speech, civil political discourse, and the political engagement of youth. Whereas Charlie Kirk was a man of deep faith, a husband and a father to 2 young children. Whereas on September 10, 2025, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on the campus of Utah Valley University while exercising his First Amendment right to freedom of speech. Whereas on September 11, 2025, one day after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Representative Ilhan Omar gave an interview on Zateo's town hall with Mehdi Hassan in which she smeared Charlie Kirk and implied he was to blame for his own murder. Whereas on September 12, 2025, 2 days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Representative Ilhan Omar reposted a video on X, formerly known as Twitter, which disparaged the character of Charlie Kirk and those mourning his death. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X states Charlie Kirk is dead, and before the body got cold, the far right propped his corpse up as a cudgel for their holy war. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states, don't be fooled. These people don't give a single shit about Charlie Kirk. They are just using his death to further their Christo-fascist agenda. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states Charlie Kirk was a reprehensible human being. He enacted his political agenda by preying on weak-minded people. He took complex socioeconomic issues and simplified them by pointing fingers at outgroups, demonizing those groups, and sicking his massive following on them. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states Charlie Kirk was a stochastic terrorist, an adamant transphobe. He denied the genocide happening in Palestine. He believed the subjugation of women, and in his last dying words, he was spewing racist dog whistles. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further states, Charlie Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein, and his monster shot him through the neck. Whereas the video Representative Ilhan Omar reposted on X further blames Charlie Kirk for his own murder. Whereas Clause 1 of Rule 13 of the Rules of the House of Representatives provides a member, delegate, resident commissioner, officer, or employee of the House shall behave at all times in a manner that shall reflect credibility on the House. Whereas Representative Ilhan Omar's actions in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk are reprehensible and affect the dignity and integrity of the proceedings of the House and do not reflect the credibility on the House. Now therefore be it resolved that Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota be censured. Representative Ilhan Omar forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. Representative Ilhan Omar be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker, and Representative Ilhan Omar be and is hereby removed from the Committee on Education and Workforce and removed from the Committee on the Budget of the House.
Georgia seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A.1 of Rule 9, I seek recognition to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows.
Recognized.
Censuring Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota. Whereas elected members of Congress take an oath to bear true faith and allegiance to the United States without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Whereas Representative Ilhan Omar took an oath of allegiance to the United States upon becoming a citizen, declaring, I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen. Whereas on January 27, 2024, Representative Omar gave remarks at an event in Minneapolis in which she made treasonous statements. Whereas Representative Omar said she has spoken to many Somalians who asked her to intercede for the Somali government by pressuring the United States government into certain actions. Whereas Representative Omar assured the Somalians she spoke to, the U.S. government will only do what Somalians in the U.S. tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders, and that is how we will safeguard the interest of Somalia. Whereas Representative Omar continued, for as long as I am in U.S. Congress, Somalia will never be in danger. Its waters will not be stolen by Ethiopia or others. Sleep in comfort knowing I am here to protect the interest of Somalia from inside the U.S. system. Whereas George Washington warned in his farewell address of 1796 to guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism, and further declared citizens by birth or choice of a common country, that country has a right to concentrate your affections. The name of American, which belongs to you in your national capacity, must always exalt the just pride of patriotism more than any appellation derived from local discriminations. Whereas these statements by Representative Omar clearly violate the oath she took as an elected member of Congress to defend and protect the United States Constitution. Whereas Representative Omar has exhibited the treasonous tendencies George Washington warned about, and her actions must be condemned by all members of Congress who adhere to the oath they took upon assuming office. And whereas by openly admitting her efforts to advance Somalia's interest using her position as a United States representative, Representative Omar has revealed herself to be a foreign agent acting on behalf of a foreign government. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota be censured. Representative Ilhan Omar forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure. Representative Ilhan Omar be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker, and Representative Ilhan Omar be and is hereby removed from the Committee of the Budget and the Committee on Education and the Workforce.
Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene have just sent shockwaves through Congress by filing a resolution to censure Representative Ilhan Omar over her outrageous comments directed at conservative leader Charlie Kirk. And let me tell you, patriots, this is not just another Washington stunt. This is a defining moment where conservatives are finally standing up and saying, we've had enough of the radical left's hatred, hypocrisy, and endless smear campaigns against our movement. For years, Ilhan Omar has been one of the most controversial figures in the House of Representatives. Time and time again, she has used her platform not to unite, not to serve her constituents, but to attack, divide, and spread rhetoric that undermines the very principles our nation was founded upon. She has taken swipes at our allies. She has mocked our values. And now, she's launched a disgraceful attack against one of the leading voices in the conservative movement, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk represents everything the radical left despises. He's young, energetic, unapologetically conservative, and has built Turning Point USA into a movement that inspires millions of young Americans to embrace patriotism, faith, and freedom. Ilhan Omar knows that Charlie Kirk is winning the battle for the hearts and minds of America's youth, and that's why she targeted him. But here's the problem. When you use your congressional position to demean and mock voices like his, you're not just insulting one man. You're insulting the millions of Americans who stand with him. That's where Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene stepped in. These two representatives said, enough is enough. They refused to let Omar's latest attack slide under the radar by filing this resolution to censure. They've drawn a line in the sand. They're sending a message not only to Ilhan Omar but to every radical leftist in Washington. If you think you can hurl insults, demean patriots, and tear down American values without consequence, you're dead wrong. Now, I know what the critics will say. They'll scream about free speech. They'll claim that this is just political theater. But let's get real here. Free speech doesn't mean freedom from accountability. When you're a sitting member of the United States Congress, your words matter. They carry weight, and when those words are used to vilify conservatives, to attack Christian values, to insult patriotic Americans, there must be consequences. If Republicans had said half of what Omar has said in her career, the mainstream media and the Democrats would have destroyed them instantly. The double standard is sickening. Marjorie Taylor Greene has never been afraid of controversy, and once again, she's leading the charge to hold the radical left accountable. And Nancy Mace, who has sometimes taken a more moderate path, is proving here that when it comes to protecting American values, she is willing to step up and fight. Together, they're showing that this isn't just about one party versus another. This is about right versus wrong, about good versus evil, about protecting our country from those who seek to tear it apart. Let's not forget, the censure resolution is not just symbolic. It shines a national spotlight on Omar's radical rhetoric. It forces Democrats to take a stand. Will they once again defend Omar's hateful language? Or will they finally admit that her behavior has no place in Congress? Either way, the American people are watching closely. This is also a turning point for the conservative movement. For too long, Republicans have played defense. For too long, they've let the left dictate the rules of engagement. But this move by Mace and Greene shows that the tide is turning. Conservatives are no longer going to quietly take the abuse. We are going on offense. We are calling out the radicals, and we are demanding accountability from those who disgrace the halls of Congress with their reckless words and divisive behavior.